Hey guys, this is Holistic Health with Harry. Today, I'm joined, I believe, in Germany by one of my good friends who I met in Cyprus and I've known a while on Zoom through the Root community. Verena, how are you?
Hi, Harry. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm wonderful. I had the most amazing time with you and others in the Root because I know these are power supplements. You know them. We're going to talk to you a bit about your story, but I think was amazing in Cyprus and seeing the founders, seeing you in real life, seeing everybody really was a great blessing. I really enjoyed it.
It was absolutely, and it was also so wonderful to hear some of the personal stories, what people have experienced with the root products themselves. And yes, meeting people we have seen on Zoom for 2 years was
Yes.
great.
Yeah, it's almost like
And
a dream come true because you get I don't know about you, but I got an image of people. I knew they'd be fun, but when you actually meet them, it's a whole different level of fun and awesomeness that compared to Zoom.
yes,
It's
it
really
is.
it takes it to another level, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
Yes, so did I. Great.
yeah.
Okay.
So can I ask you if we go back to the beginning of your story, you can talk about the beginning of your awakening. I don't know if actually if the
Yes.
root was the beginning of your awakening, but it is a huge part of your life now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And it started in April 2020. I had started to really look at different ways of detoxification because my mum suffered from Parkinson and dementia in a really, well, already severe stage. And up to then we had seen medical doctors, and I just felt like, well, there's no way we can continue like this. So I was looking for alternatives, and someone had recommended chelation therapy to us. So I was considering that because I didn't know the root products at that point in time. But then the lockdown came, and I wasn't able to take my mum to the doctor who could do the chelation therapy. He had done some blood analysis before and had said, well, yes, definitely your mum has a lot of toxins in her body, a lot of pesticides, so it makes a lot of sense to try to eliminate these toxins. But then the lockdown stopped us from going there. And nearly at the same time, Stephanie, my sponsor at Root, well, made me aware of the Root products. I had known her from another network. And then, well, when she mentioned the word detox, I thought, oh, this is really interesting because I was just, into detox. So Stephanie explained the products to me. I said, well, I'm definitely going to order them for myself and for my mum. And that's when our journey with Root started. So it was beginning of May when we ordered the products.
Mhm.
And I couldn't give them to my mum right away because the lockdown lasted a bit longer. But I started taking Clean Slate and Zero In. And after about 2 weeks, I thought I really have the impression that I have more energy, the whole day, and could focus more on my work. And I started, well, listening to all the Dr. Dory calls and the scientific research that Root offered on their website. And then about I think 3.5 months after I had started, I realized that I had lost quite a bit of weight around the hips
Wow.
and
Yeah.
well, the whole area where women around 50, well, have a bit of a hard time to lose weight.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. And I thought, oh, wow, this is fascinating because I mean, I had tried a few times with diets and you lose weight in areas where you don't want to lose it. I was never, fat or anything, but this was the area where I had a few pounds too much. So I lost weight and well, like that idea. Now I have really two sizes of trousers less than I used to have for 50
Wow.
years of my life. And I
Yeah.
feel quite happy about, being very slim at the age of 52, where other people start putting on weight.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, it was also the time when my awakening started, in the sense that some people in the root community made me aware of what was going on in the world, and that, well, what the mainstream media told us was not really the truth. But up to that point, I was not really into these things. But with clean slate, the pineal gland gets cleaned up. So, I mean, it is not surprising that people who have been on the products for a while start, seeing the world in a different way. I just need to
Sure.
make sure you don't see me with these dots.
Oh
My
yeah, well I've
face.
got the
Sorry,
sun
the
here
sun
really
is
in my
shining
boots.
here in Germany.
Yes, same.
So yes, so it was really at the same time when I really started to understand what was going on in terms of COVID, and well, that was also really something very valuable for me. And when the lockdown was over, I was able to give clean slate to my mom. And I could only give it to her about 4 or 5 times a week when I saw her, because obviously the nurses in the nursing home where she lived weren't allowed to give anything without a doctor's prescription. But whenever I went to see her, I gave her some drops, and clearly noticed a very strong odor the first few weeks.
Really? Coming from her
So
skin?
I was sure something was coming out. And
Really? Where was
was
it coming from, the
eliminated.
odor? Was it coming from her skin or a poo? Do you mind saying? You don't have to.
No, it was really the smell of her urine, which was very intense for a few weeks. I mean, to be fair, she drank very little, and it's a problem with elderly people in general. So it was very intense. But I thought, well, in a way, it's a good sign, because you have the impression that, bad stuff is eliminated. So after a few weeks, I had the impression that my mom was less tired during daytime, and the nurses who didn't know that I was giving clean slate to my mom asked me if I had noticed a difference, because they had seen that she was less tired and a bit more alert in general. And I said, yes, I've noticed it myself. So I then explained to them what I was giving my mom. And one of the nurses said, oh, that's great, because she had recommended the chelation therapy to me. She was the person who was aware of all these issues with Parkinson and toxins. So then I had the impression that my mom could also better understand when I spoke to her. As I had said in the beginning, her dementia was really at a very severe stage, and I'm sure it was partly due to the medication she was getting. I mean, from today's point of view, I think really she was just knocked out by the Parkinson medication. But so I felt like, she could better understand what I was telling her, and she also started to speak a bit more. I mean, before being on clean slate, for a few months, she had only really said 2 or 3 words. And then she got this really, really sad look, as if she wanted to tell me, I just can't find the words. Do you understand what I want to tell you? And this was all so sad, because I sometimes, wasn't able to guess what she wanted to tell me. Sometimes I was lucky, I guessed what she wanted to say. So after these 3 months probably on the product, perhaps 4, she started to say 3 or 4 entire sentences, which was quite impressive.
Whoa.
But it wasn't that impressive for me, because I had seen a slight improvement, every week. But my children, teenagers, hadn't seen their grandmother for a few months. So one afternoon I took my mom back home, and we sat in the garden, had a cup of tea, and my 15 or 14-year-old daughter and my 16-year-old son were sitting with us in the garden. And then my mom said 3 sentences, as in a row, which is normal for other people, but wasn't normal for her.
Yeah.
My daughter got so excited. She came into the house when I went into the kitchen. She said,
Yeah.
Mommy, did you notice Grandma said a few sentences? She was so excited. I said, well, yes, I have noticed it, but I have seen a slight improvement over the last few weeks already, which you haven't. She's like, wow, this is great. So do you think it's due to the clean slate? I said, well, I guess so, yes.
Yeah.
And I sometimes gave my mum the zero in.
Can I just ask to interrupt? Was she on route 0 in? Because I know that's connected too with Parkinson's.
Well, I was just about to say I sometimes gave her the zero in. I knew it would be good for her Parkinson, but she couldn't swallow the capsules anymore. It was too big. So I knew I could open the capsules. But I often went to see my mum in the nursing home. I called the nurses, said I want to take her out for a walk. So I didn't even get into the nursing home, but this was all Corona restrictions, very severe. So they basically brought my mom downstairs and we went for a walk. So I didn't always think before leaving my home to mix the powder of the zero in with some yogurt or some water. So that's why she didn't get the zero in regularly. But sometimes I thought of it before I left the house. I mixed it, I gave it to her. And then one really, really strange thing happened. One Friday morning, the lady who came to see my mom for some speech therapy, we call them logopedist in German. Not sure if that exists in English. They really try to, keep elderly people still, make them speak when they have trouble. And so the lady called me and she's like, have you got a minute? I'm so excited. Something very strange happened today. And I said, well, what happened? And she said, your mum talked so much. I just can't believe it. She told me about her dreams and what she has done in the past and that she liked to travel to France. And the lady was so excited because apparently my mama hadn't stopped talking.
Wow.
And I mean, she had seen her for months, hardly saying a word. So the funny thing is, Harry, this was really after I had given her zero in for a few days in a row. I mean, I was absolutely amazed by that story. And I have not heard my mom, speak so much as she had done that day, but it was really, so cool to hear that story from this therapist. She couldn't believe it. So I explained to her, I said, well, I guess it's due to, or thanks to those two products.
Right. Did you quickly sign her up under you?
Not really. I tried.
Okay.
Yes,
So one thing I want to say quickly as well, I guess, with the zero in is that because it really increases dopamine, isn't it?
Yes,
that's the main thing. There's a load of things going on. And then of course, Parkinson's dementia, I really do believe it's a low dopamine issue. When you spike the dopamine, then you really do help specifically Parkinson's dementia.
Absolutely. And also you help in the motoric way, because I mean, the problem with lack of dopamine is also that they, become very stiff and can't move properly. And so that helps. And the strange thing is, I mean, if you study the ingredients in zero in, the Mucana pruriens is the one that delivers the dopamine. And it's used in Ayurvedic medicine for Parkinson's disease. So one day I went to see the neurologist with my mum, and I took the zero in cut sheet with me, and I, showed it to him, said, well, what do you think? Should I give this to my mum? I mean, I didn't really want his okay, but I thought I'd challenge him. He looked at it and he said, oh yeah, Mucana pruriens, well known in Ayurvedic medicine for, delivering dopamine, but I don't think your mum needs it. And I'm like,
wow.
This is
wow.
Well, what do you want to say? So I gave it to her anyway. And I've got a few Parkinson patients in the meantime. And I mean, we hear about improvements. None of them has been on both products for long, but I'm really hoping to see more improvements. And we know in the community, there are a few people with Parkinson's who have really benefited from the two products. So, I mean, I think everything in terms of dementia or, problems in terms of brain fog it's a great, great opportunity for everybody, and it's worth trying.
Exactly. And
Absolutely.
also they say that, I believe this, dementia doesn't appear overnight. It's really brewing for like 10 years and 20 years like cancer. So actually, if we're talking about preventative, which I'd rather deal with than it's too late, because if we want
Sure.
to prevent ourselves, then basically for people that don't have Parkinson's dementia, to stop it brewing, drop yourself a zeroin or two and spike your dopamine, and that's a
Absolutely.
good way to look after yourself.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's the best thing, obviously, to do. And I mean, the more you really dive into that whole cause and symptom, story, you understand that the toxins are really the problem for most symptoms. And for instance, in France, Parkinson is recognized as a professional disease for winemakers and for farmers. And you
Oh,
think, well, yes, there is a link between Parkinson and pesticides and herbicides. Strange.
oh,
So the
interesting.
health insurance companies in France
Yeah.
recognizes officially
Huh.
as a typical illness occurring more frequently with farmers and
Farmers and
winemakers.
winemakers.
Yes.
But
So,
then the
I mean,
farmers are just making the food that we eat, right? That
yeah,
we're gonna eat.
yeah,
So it's all of us in a way. But yes, more for them.
yes,
I didn't know that fact.
yeah.
Makes sense.
But then you think, well, wouldn't it be better to stop them using all those herbicides and pesticides? I mean,
Yes,
honestly,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
So if we can go forward. So your mum's incredible story, and that's what made you passionate about it. And
Yes,
then you because we met at I guess where a lot of us, not myself actually, but a lot of people like yourself are high ranking. So was that part of the reason you decided like you felt a calling to um spread awareness? So through your mum's testimony and yours, you felt a
yes,
calling to.
absolutely. Because I mean, if you have somebody in the family who has really degraded over time, it's so sad to see. And you also really get to a point where you feel so helpless, because I mean, we obviously didn't want to put our mum in a nursing home. I've got a brother, and we tried as long as possible to keep her at home, and but there is a point where you just can't handle it, even if you get support at home. Problem is with Parkinson, if they are not stable on their feet, which is typical at a certain stage, then they tend to fall, and with one person in the house you just can't lift them anymore. So I really felt so helpless in several situations where I thought, well, if I can really help families not to endure this degradation of their parents, and perhaps they can keep them at home for longer, it's definitely worth the journey to spread the news about the root products. And I mean, what we have both experienced during the last 2 years, I think we get a lot of testimonials that tell us this is the way to go, and we all should spend more money on prevention. There is that's the only way to keep
No,
healthy and stay healthy.
it's true. Yeah, I love what we said earlier that I mean, once someone has a serious issue and gets these things fixed with these products, they're great. But also, it's better really to look after your health. But then, of course, if you're healthy and you don't really see the difference as much, I've noticed like
Mhm.
the wows come from that difference between you have an issue, you take the product, and then it really shows you what it does. Um,
Yes.
but to be honest, I think these are so high vibe. These the clean slate. Whenever I take the drops, it still shocks me because I feel something go on in my body. It like vibrates in my body. I don't know how to describe it. I think because I am not exactly dirty, I look after myself. I can really
Yeah.
feel it like it's very strange. It's like a little something pinging in my body, like going like
Oh,
this,
cool.
almost like the quantum effect. I don't know if you saw Caroline
Yes, yeah.
Mansfield's thing.
I mean, you're probably very kind of sensitive to this energy. I've got a customer who is an osteopath, and she said the first time she had the clean slate bottle, she was holding the clean slate body in her hand. She really felt the energy. And
Wow.
she
Yeah.
did a Zoom call with other therapists,
Huh.
and they were all into quantum medicine. And she shared the energy of the clean slate bottle via Zoom, and they
Hmm.
could feel it. And I'm like,
Ah,
how is that possible?
right.
Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
not as advanced in terms of quantum medicine. That's
Hmm.
why I don't know.
Ah.
And Harry, can you just hold on a second? I need to open the door.
Of course,
Just
we
a
can wait.
second.
We can wait. Yeah, sure, sure, sure. Kate,
Okay.
we're back. So
Yes,
back,
we are back.
let's backtrack again. So your mum and in May, and then what job were you doing prior? I mean, how were you financing yourself before the
Well, I learned or I trained as in economics and worked in marketing for several years for medical devices. And then I had a longer break when my kids were small, and then I worked again in the area of marketing, and then my parents got both quite ill, so I stopped working. And now I'm doing the root business as full-time business, really enjoying it. And what I like so much about it is the flexibility. I'm a person who likes to work in the evening when the rest of the family, well, is in bed or do other stuff. I, work some hours in the morning, but like if the weather's nice in the afternoon, I go for a long walk and then I start working again when it gets dark. I mean, this is so great. You meet a lot of wonderful people. I've got such a huge community by now and so many wonderful people. Most of them are very aware of what's going on in the world. And
we met Regina, didn't we? We met Regina, the Queen.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, yes. And I've got some great therapists in my downline. So I learned a lot from them because whenever I have a health question, I ask them and I get an answer. And what is quite fascinating, one of those therapists, he's a Klinghardt doctor. Is Dr. Klinghardt known in the UK?
I've heard of that name. You told it to me before and I've heard it.
Okay,
I think he's known
very
around
much into, he started looking into the issue of toxins already 30 years ago. He's apparently one of the first ones to really talk about these problems.
Oh, wow.
And so a lot of holistic doctors in Germany trained after Dr. Klinghardt. And he has great products that he recommends, but several Klinghardt therapists are now using the root products, and they say they've never seen products like this before. They're absolutely flashed by what the products do.
Yeah.
And one of them said it replaces most of the product I've used for 10 years because they are so powerful. So.
I love that. Yeah. So the thing is, I'm sure you've experienced this. There's so many supplements out there in the supplement world, and a lot of people still take them now and spend a lot of money on things that theoretically do good things. But I've always been personally a feelings person. I could only really back something if I feel a difference or notice it in my physical outlook, how I look. And that ticked both boxes when Sandy gave me that free bottle, and I really felt it, and it still applies today. So yes, I can relate to his idea that it sounds crazy, I guess, depending on who you are, but you can get rid of a lot of these supplements and save a lot of money if you just stick to one, which removes the clean slate, for example, removes all of the biggest issues, the ones that get stuck and a little hard to remove. I don't know, like heavy metals, glyphosate and mold, the three biggest ones I can think in a branch, and parasites.
Yes, and also parasites,
right.
One of the Klinghardt therapists told me, he said, not only is clean slate more powerful, more effective, it's safer than most of the other detox products. People can use it at home. So it means really high patient compliance. They stick to it with the other, with chlorella, spirulina. They have to eat so many of those little, tablets all day long. They get fed up after a while. They just don't want to do it any longer. And that's great with the clean slate, really. It's so easy.
Exactly. Yeah. And let's talk a little bit about, because we talked about clean slate and root. The thing is, I'm blown away by the company. If I'm being honest, and I'll just say to you, I was a little worried at the beginning because I was came after you, and there was only 2 when I came, and then the Restore came out, and I loved it. I loved the energy it gave me, the taste, of course. But then as they started expanding, I had a fear in my mind, which I know now just to be limiting beliefs, that they would dilute the quality of their products, because how can you make products as good? But funny enough, each one I've tried, which includes Real Greens and the Ram Roast Coffee too, which I think you tried it, right?
Yes,
I
liked
got blown
it.
away. So what I'm saying is I'm genuinely surprised at the quality of the expansion of the products. And it's not just in a way about 1, 2, and 3, which everyone knows about. There's a lot more. Even the air purifiers have blown me away. Like,
Yes, absolutely. And also the mitochondria defense shield, this new product. I
yeah.
mean, apparently very helpful for those people who took the jab for whatever reason.
Oh, for
And
that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely great product. And I've got several therapists who really test these products on their patients before they recommend them.
Yeah.
So according to, well, the way they test, they can really see what the patient needs before they recommend it. And several said the mitochondria defense shield is also really a fantastic product. And so, yes, as you said, I mean, we've already got 7 products so far, and there are more to come, and each of them seems to be really of extremely high quality, and they all work synergistically together. I mean, this is amazing. It's not
Yes.
that one replaces the other, or yeah.
No, and I love the variety because sometimes, for whatever reason, I've learned that sometimes they won't go for the zeolite, but they might be interested in the NAD and the real greens, the air purifiers. I think the air purifiers, yeah, everyone needs them if they're living and not in nature. And who watching this actually lives in the jungle, by the way? Everyone lives in
Yeah.
houses which are toxic. Um,
Yes.
Sick building syndrome to varying degrees is applying to all.
Yeah, people suffering
Yeah.
from mold, a lot
No,
of old buildings with, wet walls and
that's huge. The mold one, by the way. Yeah, thanks for saying that. Yeah. And the
yeah.
ozone in the air purifiers. I got given, do you remember I caught this? I won,
Yes, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
because I've ordered the other two, but they haven't come yet. They're being shipped. I'm going on Wednesday to Portugal. It's annoying. They're going to come two
Okay, so
days
it's
after I'm,
great on the plane. I
is it?
wore mine on the plane
Yeah.
and definitely felt good. I had the impression that I was, getting enough fresh air on the plane.
Wow. Because that's the most
And
toxic area, I think, if you're going to
yeah,
judge. Like, it's a really toxic environment. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I've had, well, I wanted to lend mine to a friend who has a severe allergy against all sorts of animal fur, not only cats, but horses. And so I'm planning to lend her mine just that she checks out. I'm pretty sure this would help her, because sometimes you want to see a friend and they have a cat. So it's really annoying if you suffer severely from, meeting with them. So it would be great for
exactly.
her.
So I remember what Clayton said about the cat pee, and of course I'm in the community. So you asked earlier off there, what's my audience for this? And a lot of them is into aged urine, which we all know smells. Just imagine a tramp's toilet. And yes, we all have accidents where we spill it, but sometimes we make mistakes in the community, uncalibrated mistakes of putting it on the skin, and we genuinely smell. So I'm really want to push for our community, probably watching this right now, that if you ever spill aged urine or you massage it and you have to go out, buy the air purifiers, because for some reason, I do believe what Clayton says is taking away the smell of pee, which is a really tough one to remove, I thought, but maybe not with this
Yes,
thing.
it's worth trying, definitely.
Yeah, and do you know what I think, Verena? It's the ozone. You heard it's the O3, because I smell. Have you smelt it? When you put it on, it
Yeah,
smells like a swimming pool, like ozone. It's very
a bit.
strong.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, it's quite fascinating. And one of our community members wrote a few days ago that she has chronic sinuses.
Hmm.
And since she's using the air shield, her sinuses improved.
Oh wow. Huh.
Hmm.
That makes complete sense to me. Yeah, like I said, I'm
Yeah.
going to get the air purifiers. I'm just going to miss them, but I can't wait to talk more about these things. Another thing with this is you just charge it and you got it and it lasts forever. It lasts about 28 hours. I charge
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah. It's
and I'm good to
great. Yeah.
go. And if I always wear it on you, I mean, it's
Yeah.
no effort is what I'm trying to say.
Hmm.
You just wear it
Yeah.
and
And I
you're
put
good.
the one that you can just plug. I put it in our small bathroom
Ah,
and it helps. Yes.
does it? You feel different with the small bathroom one, the
Yes.
smells and,
Yes, it
oh,
does.
interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
So, like for everybody who has a small bathroom without a window, it's a good investment.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, of course, of course. Okay, because we're time constrained a little bit. I think
Yeah.
we covered a lot, but is there any messages that you'd like to leave any audience members that are going to watch this that we haven't covered and I haven't asked you?
Yeah, I think definitely for everybody who feels that they want to, invest into their health, but might not really have a lot of money, especially with, all the prices going up. The Root community is a fantastic affiliate program where it's relatively easy to, earn enough money to buy the products for yourself and for your entire family. And if you are somewhat interested in making more money, that's possible as well. But it's really about, the first step is about really getting the products more or less for free by recommending them to others, and having the confidence that you do the best you can for your own health and for your kids or partner's health. And I think this is a great, great way of using and promoting these products. And that's really the idea that Clayton and Christina had when they set up this affiliate program. I think Clayton is extremely clever, and I've got now quite a big community, although I don't have that many direct customers, but there are so many satisfied people who then just start recommending the products because they, want to share it with other people who have health issues. And
that's lovely.
great
Last
program.
question. Did you ever think you'd be doing this well on the business side as well as helping so many people? If you take your life
I
back to the
didn't
days
have a
before.
clue last year that I would touch so many lives, but I was very lucky that I got 2 customers with a big network. So I've got more than 5,000 people in my downline now. And I'm somewhat really not proud, but rather really happy that, I can help so many people in an indirect way. It's not me who approached all of them, obviously, but
But if
if
it
I
wasn't
hadn't
for you,
started,
yes, yeah.
would they have heard of the products? I don't know. And that's why I'm really, really pleased to promote these products. And I'm sure we've got a fantastic journey ahead of us. There's still a lot to come, and
Sure. So thank you
great
so
to
much,
meet all
Verena.
those people.
Yeah, thank you so much, Verena, for being one of the first. I also consider myself the first, but you before me, and keep up the amazing work with what you're doing. And I look forward to seeing you in Cyprus next year, and Mexico maybe, but definitely Cyprus.
Yes, or in the UK or in Germany, wherever,
That's
Harry.
right.
I'm sure we'll meet again.
I've
And
heard
thanks a lot for.
Clayton's gonna be pushing you in the water first this time, not me. That's what I heard.
Yes, I wish he had done it. Then I wouldn't have thought about it.
All right. Cheers, guys.
Okay, thanks a lot, Harry. Have a great trip to Portugal, and thanks a lot
Same
for
to you.
interviewing.